The wind that morning was gentler than usual, brushing across the quiet fields that surrounded Sam's small farm. She stood at the wooden fence with a basket of freshly picked vegetables, her fingers cold from the early winter breeze. Wrapped in the coat Lee had bought her before he left for the dangerous mission, she whispered to herself, "When will he come back? Is he safe now?" For days, there had been no news from Duk, no messages, no updates. The silence only deepened the ache in her chest. Whenever she picked vegetables, cooked a meal, or fed the chickens, she found herself glancing toward the road leading to the mountains, hoping that at any moment Lee would appear. But today, something felt different in the air. Inside the military base, far away, Lee stood tall in his uniform, dusted with the marks of the mission he had survived. His face was thinner, his eyes deeper, but there was a quiet pride glowing in him. Before the gathered officers, Commander Vo raised his voice, announcing, "Comrade Lee has successfully infiltrated the Black Dragon criminal syndicate. His courage and intelligence have brought down one of the most dangerous groups in the region. This is a remarkable achievement." Applause erupted across the hall. Lee bowed slightly, humble as always. "I only did my duty, sir. The success belongs to the whole team." Even as the commander spoke, even as medals were placed into his hand, Lee's heart was somewhere else, on a peaceful farm, with a girl who had waited for him in the cold. When the ceremony ended, Duk stepped beside him. "Sir, about Sam, she has been doing well. The garden is thriving. She misses you a lot." Lee nodded, breath catching lightly. "Thank you, Duk. After work, I'll go see her." He had imagined this moment countless times during the mission. Sam's smile, Sam's voice, the warmth of her small home. But the thought that pressed most deeply into his heart, the thought he could no longer ignore, was this: "This time, I won't leave without telling her what I really feel." The sun was sinking low when Lee finally walked down the familiar dirt path leading to Sam's house. He carried a bouquet of soft-colored flowers, a bag of fresh fruit, and a small box of cookbooks he had chosen especially for her. Sam was washing vegetables in the wooden basin when the soft sound of footsteps approached. She turned. Her hands froze. "Lee, you," she whispered. He stood there, tired, thinner, but alive. His smile was gentle, full of longing. "I'm home, Sam." Her breath trembled as she ran toward him. I thought something happened to you. I was so scared." Lee opened his arms and pulled her close. "I'm safe now. I'm here, with you." She stepped back, eyes shining with tears. "You lost weight. Was it dangerous? Did you get hurt?" "I'm all right," he said softly. "Seeing you like this makes everything worth it." He offered the bouquet. "These are for you." Sam held the flowers to her chest, smiling shyly. "Thank you. They're beautiful. Like the day you left." "And this," Lee added, handing her the wrapped books, "is something I thought you'd like." Cookbooks, the kind she often talked about wanting. She laughed softly, a sound like bells in the quiet yard. "I love them. Thank you, Lee." They walked around the garden together, the climbing vines, the blossoming vegetables, the chickens scratching at the ground. It felt like their world had paused only to begin again, gentler, warmer, closer. That night, Sam cooked dinner just for him. Lee watched her from the doorway, feeling his chest tighten with something deeper than gratitude, something he had held in the entire time he was away. When she placed the dishes on the table, he reached for her hand. Sam, while I was away, I thought about you every day. About your smile, your voice, your little farm, about how peaceful and warm my heart feels when I'm here. Her cheeks flushed, but she didn't look away. Lee, he squeezed her hand gently. Sam, I want to stay by your side. From now on, I want to build a life with you. A real one. Not just promises, not just visits. Her breath caught, eyes trembling. Are you asking me? Lee smiled, soft, certain, full of emotion. Yes, Sam. The days after the proposal felt strangely unreal to Tusam, as if she were walking inside a dream she was afraid to wake from. Every morning, she would touch the simple ring Lee had slipped onto her finger, feeling its cold metal warm slowly against her skin, like his presence, quiet but comforting. Lee visited the farm almost every day now. Sometimes he arrived with fresh fruit, sometimes with small tools to help her fix the chicken coop, and sometimes he came with nothing at all, except a smile that made Sam's heart flutter like a startled bird. But beneath that happiness was a question neither dared to answer yet. When will the wedding take place? One evening, as they sat together on the wooden bench outside the house, Sam poured warm tea into 2 cups. The scent of lemongrass drifted gently between them. Lee, she whispered, her fingers trembling slightly, I still can't believe you chose someone like me. He turned to her, surprised. Someone like you? I would cross every battlefield again if it meant coming back to this place. Back to you. Her eyes lifted, uncertain yet glowing. But you're a soldier. Your life, your duties. Will there ever be time for a wedding? Lee's smile softened, touched by both affection and sadness. I've thought about that too. The next mission could come at any time. But a wedding shouldn't be rushed. I want to prepare everything properly. I want to give you peace, not fear. Sam lowered her gaze. I don't need something big. I just want you, no matter when. He reached out, brushing her cheek with his thumb. And you'll have me, I promise. But first, I want to talk to my commander and to my family. We need their blessings. Her heart tightened with hope and worry. Then, we'll wait together, she said softly. Lee nodded, taking her hands into his, warming them in his steady grasp. Yes, Sam, we'll wait, but this time, not alone. 2 Sams sat on the old wooden bench behind the small house, her fingers trembling as she held the warm cup of ginger tea Lee had made. The night air wrapped around her like a thin, uncertain blanket, neither cold enough to hurt nor warm enough to comfort. Just like her heart. Lee stepped outside quietly, wiping his hands on a towel. He had just finished cooking a simple dinner, rice, stir-fried vegetables, and a bowl of soup that tasted exactly like her mother's recipe. Sam always wondered how he remembered the things she only mentioned once. He sat beside her, leaving a respectful distance. Are you angry with me? Lee finally asked, his voice soft, almost scared. Sam shook her head. No, just confused. Everything feels like it's happening too fast. He nodded slowly, accepting her feelings without trying to change them. That was something she admired about him. He never forced her to love, never forced her to stay, never forced her to forget her past. You don't have to choose anything tonight. Just breathe. I'm here. That's enough for me. But his calmness only made her heart ache more.
Sam turned toward him, struggling with the storm inside her. Lee, if I told you I'm scared of loving again, would you wait? He smiled, gentle, warm, patient, the kind of smile that made broken things believe they could be whole. He said, I've already been waiting, and I'll keep waiting, even if you walk away tomorrow. Something in her shattered, something in her healed. Without fully understanding why, Sam leaned her head on his shoulder. His breath hitched, as if her smallest gesture meant more to him than any confession. She whispered, I'm not walking away. For the first time in months, her heart finally rested, and for the first time in years, Lee allowed himself to hope.
The next morning, the sun poured gently through the kitchen window, casting golden light on the small wooden table. Sam was arranging vegetables for the day's harvest when she heard Lee's voice behind her. Sam, can we talk? She turned and he was holding a small, carefully wrapped box. Her heart skipped. Lee knelt down slightly, placing the box in front of her. I've been carrying this for weeks, waiting for the right moment. Today, I don't want to wait any longer. Sam's fingers shook as she opened it. Inside lay a simple silver ring, delicate but sparkling under the sunlight. Lee took her hand gently. Sam, I know the past has hurt you, and I know life isn't always easy. But every moment away from you made me realize I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me? Her eyes filled with tears. Tears of fear, joy, and hope all at once. She felt the weight of all the days she had longed for him, all the nights she had feared loving again. And now, here he was asking her to trust him, to choose him forever. She didn't speak for a long moment. Her heart pounded so loud she was sure he could hear it. Finally, she whispered, Yes, Lee, yes, I want to marry you. I want us to have our family, our life, together. Lee's face lit up with a smile so pure it made her ache with love. He slipped the ring onto her finger, and for a moment the world felt still. Their hearts beating in sync, the promise of tomorrow shining brighter than any sunrise. Outside, the farm seemed to celebrate with them. The chickens clucked happily, the vegetables glistened under the sun, and even Mike, the little dog, wagged its tail like he knew a new chapter was beginning. It wasn't just a proposal, it was a promise that no matter the past, no matter the challenges, they would face everything together. And for Sam, that was more than enough to finally believe in love again.